Right on, man. Well, thank you for taking some time to hang out. We never did get the chance to do this when you're in Vancouver, working in radio, and it seemed like there's a fair amount of that going on, but somehow you and I never connected in that way.
I think we crossed paths like
Yeah,
just
just in
nights
passing
at
kind of a
bars, kind of,
yeah,
hey,
ships, and then hey, we should go for beers, but yeah, it never did happen. I guess that's kind of the majority of the people that would be, following me and kind of watching my podcast and stuff. That's where they would know you from, is, being a DJ in Vancouver. But of course, right now you're banging away. You're in the States, you're doing film, you're doing TV, you're doing voice acting, which is pretty rad, dude. And I want to get into all that, but let's get into radio first, just to kind of, for the people that would know who you are, and, get off on that.
yeah, definitely.
Um, where did you start? Give us the Cole's notes of the Chris Calhoun radio guy.
I started when I was 15 years old,
What?
uh, back in 83, 84, in a place called Woodstock, Ontario, Canada, which is the
Okay.
dairy capital of Canada. And I walked into the radio station one day because I wanted to be in a band. I wanted to be a rock star.
Yeah. Who
Um,
doesn't?
yeah. And I play guitar, is garage bands and stuff, and walked. Is there any kind of music school in the area I could go to? Because I just didn't get high school, like the in a box concept. And they go, no, but we could put you on overnight spinning records. That was my start in radio. And
Wow.
basically I just started spinning records, needle on the vinyl, the old cart machines, if people do the research and they figure it out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and just spun records for like 3-4 shifts. And then I came in and the program director gave me a clock and he goes, talk here, talk here, talk here, talk here. I go, what do I say? Intro the record, just don't talk over and he showed me. And
Yeah.
that was my start in radio.
That is insane, dude. That would never happen today. Like, imagine
No,
a 15-year-old
and
old
for a
kid,
15-year-old
like,
kid,
not happening.
yeah, no, and yeah, because you got to have a degree and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm a really hands-on guy. Like I learn hands-on. Show me something, okay, show me again, bang, and
Yeah.
I just
Same.
progressed. And
Dude, that's
I
amazing.
think with anything there has to be talent. If there's a talent there, then it can blossom, and the
And it,
passion.
and so from there, you kind of just stayed in radio, got the full-time gig out of high school. Like, what was that? How did that shake down?
I dropped out of high school.
No kidding.
Yeah, I dropped out of high school. All my friends were envious of me because I had this cool little radio show. I did overnights, but then eventually I did weekends, evenings, and then through the week. And uh, first gig, hometown radio station, I got fired, uh, which was just
There's a story there.
yeah. Um, they owed me money, and then it's a big. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's part of radio. It's like you have to you when you start, you expect to be fired. If you don't,
Right.
then you're kind of in the wrong profession. But you shouldn't. But unfortunately, it happens.
Yeah.
And then I went to Leamington, Ontario. I went to Kirkland Lake, Ontario, where I woke up one morning. It was minus 52. I said, "I'm the fuck out of here." Uh, and
What am
you
I doing here?
travel.
Yeah.
Like anybody who's done radio, it's like doing dinner theater, and then eventually you gain your way, you go up the ladder.
Yeah.
And then went to Barrie, went to Kingston, went to Ottawa,
Wow, dude, you're all
Montreal,
over. That's
uh,
crazy.
a bit in Toronto, and then Vancouver was great for me. It was beautiful. And then
How
Vancouver,
long were you in Vancouver for?
um 97, I'm gonna say 12 years,
Yeah.
11 years on air.
Yeah.
Um, and then they clean house at Z95, and it's business. It's
Again,
a
it's just the
business,
way it is.
and
That's the
we
industry.
forget that in radio sometimes. It's not because you suck. It's just it's a business, and they
Right.
got rid of all the high paychecks one day. They got rid of 5 of us.
Right.
Darren Lamb, who's in Toronto and doing really well. He's still in radio. Then I went to Victoria, And I lasted about 9 months, and I said, my heart's just not in it anymore.
Right.
This is just bullshit. And after that, I looked back, said, oh fuck, I worked like 26 years in radio,
Right.
27 years in
Wow.
radio.
Wow.
Yeah,
I hit about 20,
okay.
and it's 7 years doing this now. I just had so many people, like, when I got let go, they were like, dude, don't, like, why do you need to go back? I'm like, well, because that's what I do. I'm a radio DJ. And they're like, yeah, but you're also a well-known radio DJ in Vancouver that could probably get his own sponsors.
And that kind of was
And that's it.
the evolution of
That's
what
it.
you're doing now.
Yeah, that's literally it. And I was like, oh yeah, maybe you're right. So I started reaching out to all those, like, businesses that I knew people, or I've emceed for 500 times, or, just shit like that. Like, people that could actually pull the purse strings, right? As long as you don't ask for too much money, $300-500, $1,000, whatever. Like, as long as you're like, hey, I want $5,000, well, they're going to laugh you out of the door, right?
Yeah.
But if you get like 10 sponsors at $500 each, well, that's $5,000 a month coming in.
Okay. And it keeps you going, and
Yeah.
you have a, sustainable and viable product, and like, hey, why the hell not?
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, I full-time at BCIT as well now. So
Oh, okay.
been there for 3 years full-time, 5 years in total. So the transition then to get to where you are today, man, is fucking awesome, dude.
When I got to like, I always want to be in film, like entertainment, and like, hello, I want to be a rock star, but it just didn't pan out. That didn't go that course.
So pause. We'll get to that. We'll get on that. What's the instrument? What are you playing? What do you want to be? You want a drummer? What are you doing? Singing? Guitarist?
I don't know.
Guitars. Oh, there in the back there. Yeah.
Yeah, a little studio going on. Like, I've got it tripped out, and
do you still play?
I write. And since I've been down here, I've been in about 3 bands.
Oh, nice. So you're playing.
And we had a CD ready to go, and then the band imploded. One of the guys, the lead singer, he was actually signed back in the 90s. He hung out in the CA. He's from Seattle. Willie, great writer, unique singer. He knew the guys in Alice in Chains, and that whole
that scene,
burgeoning scene. And his band got signed, got sent down to LA. They were in the studio, and then the record company screwed stuff up, and he's just down here. But
wow, I hear a lot of those stories.
Yeah.
Okay, like, so unpause the other story. So now you're the trajectory to get to where you are.
I digress.
Yes, exactly.
When I was in Vancouver, I gravitated towards film, TV, and started doing background work. Again, just learning from the grassroots and watching, like, I'd say to the production assistant, hey, can I watch how they're setting this up? Just, shut up, don't say anything, and I watched stuff, and it was like I was on set learning for free, not having to go to theater school or stuff. But eventually I went to a school and took acting lessons in Vancouver with different teachers, various teachers. Wanted to do it right and learn. I just didn't want to be, I'm an actor now.
Yeah. I did radio.
Yeah, exactly. But that was also a dilemma, because when I started going up for auditions, it's that radio guy who wants to be an actor. Always.
Yeah.
And I got a couple things here and there, and the voice thing took off with some of the animation that I was doing. But I just couldn't get to the next level in Vancouver. I felt I wasn't being taken seriously. And it wasn't like I just showed up, radio guy wants to be an actor. I did go and study. I studied in Vancouver hard for about 8 years, and then, studied down here with various teachers as well.
Right.
And eventually, met up with a lovely woman, Isa, who's originally from Mexico. And we had this crazy relationship back and forth, her in Mexico, me here. And then she moved up to Vancouver, and I said to her, why don't we move to Los Angeles? I said, I'm just getting nowhere here. And this is, post radio.
Do you think that a little bit of that played into the fact that you were Chris Kalhoon, radio guy? Like, was that one of the key factors in not getting, further than what you'd kind of hoped?
I think so.
I think so too.
I think so. It was a detriment.
Y- Yeah,
As
dude.
I
Like I've
said,
tried personally the same thing. Like I've tried to get into voice acting and just character stuff, and I've got some, I've got a pretty good tape. But it's really tricky to get in. They always label you, oh, you're that radio guy. You're gonna give a radio read. It's like,
exactly.
but why don't you, give me a chance, give me a try, like bring me to some auditions and like, let me try and fly. So
Well, there's a guy who broke out of that box, David Kay.
David Kay. Well, David Kay is the voice of my podcast. So it's like Toddcast
Oh,
podcast. Here's Todd Hancock.
okay, there you go.
Yeah.
I wasn't available that day.
Yeah, exactly. You weren't returning my texts.
Yeah, but I know I know David. I've been over to his place for Thanksgiving, and he's
Right.
done extremely well. And he
Super nice guy.
got out of that box. He wasn't just this radio guy. He developed, and he's done very well for himself.
Yeah, he's over the years kind of given me advice on the same thing. Like, you need to take those voice acting classes for people to kind of take you seriously. And at the time, of course, I'm at CFOX. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking take a voice. I'm just not gonna take an acting class. He's like, we're probably not gonna get anywhere then.
Yeah, yeah. It's just, it's like, Kobe just didn't show up draining threes.
Mhm.
He was on the court. Or Steve Curry, they're there practicing.
Practicing day in, day out. So you get to LA, and then do you notice a change right away?
Yeah, I'm a little fish in a big pond. And they use 5 or 6 guys for all the voice stuff. When it comes to film and TV, it's tough. It's very competitive. And you're looking for work. You're unemployed. You're an actor, but you're always unemployed. You take side gigs. But I think I've had more doors open here, and I did with a person I was studying with, who's originally from Vancouver. I didn't know till I moved down here and met him. A director by the name of Dan Ireland, who gave Jessica Chastain her start, Vincent D'Onofrio, Renee Zellweger. Like, there's a whole list. Very humble guy, great guy, likes to develop talent. So I was studying with him, and he started putting his students in films, and I did a short with him, and then he was supposed to do a film. I was supposed to be with Ashley Judd and Bill Paxton in a movie, and all my scenes were going to be with them. So, and he was the director and co-writer, and we were going to film it in Mississippi. But unfortunately, about a month before we were going to start shooting, he passed away. And it was a shock to everybody, because he was a great director. And then when we showed up at the memorial, myself, my wife, my daughter, Jessica Chastain right here, like, everybody showed up and had so much love and compassion for this guy, because he was truly a great guy and saw talent and liked to develop talent. That was a setback.
Yeah.
And because he fought for me to get in this movie and said, "You're staying in my fucking hotel room if I gotta fucking pay." Like, they're being dicks, right? Yeah, it's just the business part.
Yep.
Because he knew I could do this part. He liked what I did. But unfortunately that happened, and you just keep trugging on,
So how do you look for the work, and how do you find the work? You have an agent?
I have an agent. I have a voice agent, commercial agent, theatrical agent, a print agent.
Yeah.
All these people, and a manager. And they're just not sitting on their duffs. Like, if you don't work, they don't get paid either. And I've had some success here. Actually, years ago, I auditioned for something through the channels, and I was back in Vancouver shooting it. It was a movie of the week. So
That's pretty cool.
I had to come down here to get the job back there, which is
right
normal for a lot of actors.
Yeah. What's
it's not that Vancouver's a great place. There's so many good actors, and I have friends who do really well. And I don't want to sound, it's not going to sound bitter. Like, anybody who's wanted to do it, like, you can go down the list: Ryan Reynolds, Ryan Gosling, Michael J. Fox, Lauren Green, old school, William Shatner, Jim Carrey, like you can go down the list.
Yeah, all the SNL staff, like,
Yeah, you've had to leave Canada
yeah,
to be accepted in Canada, if that makes sense,
it's
as
weird,
a
right?
actor. But then
Yeah.
there's other actors, like they do great, like Ian Tracy, Venus Tirzo, whom I know, I both know, and like they do great work, and they're happy, and they do really well in Vancouver.
Hmm. Yeah.
You know.
I mean, ultimately, it doesn't really matter where you are. If you're loving, what you're doing and enjoying the craft, and you can feel that you're moving forward, like that's ultimately what it's all about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're mentioning like you wanted to be the rock star. So when you're growing up in the Calhoun house, what's the music being played? What are your parents playing?
Uh, my very tumultuous childhood eventually met my real mom when I was like 14, 15.
Okay.
Um, but and her brother, my uncle, like it was, like Hendrix and Uriah Heep, Bad Company, Zeppelin, all the classics. But then, I really gravitated towards, three chords, 2 minutes and it's done. Like the Pistols, the Clash, the Damned, Susie and the Banshees, like that whole burgeoning punk era when that came out,
Hmm.
and then new wave and stuff, and then eventually I just, I got in when I got down here with the guys that I've hooked up with. It's kind of a shoegazy Foo Fighters meets Smashing Pumpkins meets Radiohead type
Mm,
stuff that we were
that's
like,
very cool.
yeah. And it sounded good. And it's unfortunately the band broke up. There's still music there, and
Yeah.
I've just been writing myself the last little while.
Hmm. What was your first concert?
Um, where did we play? Uh, bar in North Hollywood.
Oh, your bad. No, I meant like when you were a little kid.
Oh, when I was a kid. Oh, my
Yeah, yeah,
first
yeah.
concert. Ozzy Osbourne.
Ozzy for
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
Insane.
And
How
it
old
was
are you?
14, 15.
Okay.
Took my little brother because he was a fan, and
Yeah.
I think it was Ozzy and Quiet Riot. They were
Yeah, that
doing,
rings a bell. I
and then
mean,
there was,
all those guys, right? Like, used to take out like Motley Crue all the time, and
yeah,
you know.
yeah. And then I also around the time, first or second, like Def Leppard and Nazareth for some reason.
Oh yeah, interesting. Nazareth had a bunch of really good songs. I think that might be an underrated band.
I think so. And they're my brother, and they're Scottish. If it's not
Yeah,
Scottish, it's crap.
yeah. Best Scottish band is Thin Lizzy.
Yeah,
Are they Scottish or are they Irish?
Irish, I think.
Irish.
Yeah.
What's the Scottish band that was out lately? And I was like, man, that's a fucking rad band. Uh,
Snow Patrol.
Snow Patrol's a great band, but that's not the one. It was produced by Garth Richardson. Why am I blanking on the name? I've had the bass player on as well.
Arctic Monkeys. No.
No, Arctic Monkey's a great band, man. I think that once they met Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age, their game just went through the roof, man.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm blanking on the name of the band. Anyway, uh, where was the last place you went on vacation?
Wow. I don't know if it was really vacation. I was in Australia for work
Hmm.
just before the lockdown. Shot a commercial. They flew me over, so I'm like, yeah, and it was in
Yeah, that's pretty
Sydney,
badass.
and I was like, oh my god, now I know why so many Aussies when they're in Vancouver they said it's just like being home. Yeah.
Yeah, totally right.
And it was just like Vancouver.
Yeah, crazy.
Um, with the family, last place was Mexico.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yet to do the Mexico trip. I've got an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old. Yet to do though. Well, that's not true. I did. We went to Florida when they were little, but they wouldn't remember, like 4 and 2 kind of thing. Right before I got let go from CFOX, we fucked off to Florida, and of course I didn't know I was going to get let go, but you know, but yeah, I haven't done one of those trips. We always do like the Tofino, hit the island kind of thing, and just relax on the beach and just and chill that way.
2 years ago, we drove to Toronto. All my family's back in Toronto, near Toronto,
yeah,
and because
you drove from LA to Toronto?
my daughter had 3 weeks off for school for
Holy
winter
shit!
break,
How
like
long
around
did that
Christmas.
take?
3 days there, 4 days back.
Wow.
And we just took our time. And I said to my wife, Issa, I said, we could fly or we could drive. And she's like,
Mm,
okay. But we stayed in nice hotels. The money we would have spent on airline flights,
right.
and we have a Chevy Volt, so it was easy. It was cheaper. So we drove up, had a great time, drove back, had a great time,
Well,
saw
that's
no
cool.
snow, went to see her. She has family in Montreal, went to Montreal, no snow. My daughter was pissed. On the way back, we get to Oklahoma, massive snowstorm,
Yes,
trucks
of
in the
course.
ditch,
Yeah.
everywhere. And like being
Like, is that
Canadian,
what you wanted? Is that
yeah,
what you wanted?
being Canadian, you know how to drive through it, right? So, boy, you don't drive fast. You know, like,
Right.
duh.
Slow down a little bit. Yeah. Was that the first time you ever did a long road trip like that? I've never done that. Like the longest I've gone is Vancouver to like Regina.
We did where my wife's from, Tampico on the Gulf Coast in Mexico, which is like if Houston's here, Brownsville, McAllen, the border, and then she's like down here. We
Okay.
drove from there to Vancouver.
Whew. Wow, that's another big drive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, how's family life and everything with COVID? Everybody's everybody's fine. Everybody's
Sometimes
dialed.
we're
Not
to
wanting to
be
kill
honest,
each other.
sometimes we're at each other's throats.
Yeah,
You
same.
know, it's normal.
Yeah.
And then, I got to throw my daughter on cell phone lockdown all the time.
Yes.
Like, I'm sure you probably experience it as a parent. It's like, okay, you've had enough time on your cell phone, but
It's the
in
screens,
reality, it's
man.
like, put your goddamn cell phone down.
I know, right? It's like, oh God, you're always on that thing. But then of course we are too, and it's hard to not, it's hard to not be on them.
But I'm not doing TikTok, but maybe I should start doing TikTok just to
No,
embarrass her.
dude, we're too old for TikTok.
No, just to embarrass her and then like tag her.
Yes, exactly.
And then all her friends can see,
What are you watching? What have you been watching over the pandemic?
We binge watched a few things. One was this show from Australia called Wentworth about a woman's
Oh yeah,
prison,
yeah.
and the acting on it was astounding.
Mm.
And I watched. Some people watch stuff. They go, I thought it was okay. But I watch for performance, and you
Yeah.
learn and you take bits and pieces of stuff from different people. Um, which I'll kind of get into with one of my acting teachers, which she said did, and with somebody she had come in class. So Wentworth, and I reached out to one of the actresses, not thinking, hey, you blew me away. Just this one actress, I just honed in on her, and she emailed me back, like emailed her
Really?
agent, and she's from Australia, so she emailed me back, and I just like great performance, like, and it was I think it's like a 9-season romp and
Wow.
been watched and it was really good. And then just saw the um what is it, Nomadland with Frances McDormand.
Okay.
uh it's quiet, and but it's nice, and just
Great
watch.
actors.
Yeah, great performances. And then as with some Korean stuff, like, and then there's a lot of Spanish stuff because my wife's Mexican, and it's it just opens your eyes. And like, it's, if you can watch a movie with subtitles and get around with that, which a lot of North Americans can't, especially in the States, because they just want English, English, English. But if
Mm.
you can get away from that, and there's some amazing freaking movies, amazing actors, and actresses, and just, it's mind blowing something what they do.
Chris, is there a way for you were just saying like you like that one performance, you take a little bit from that person, a little bit from her performance and all that. Is there a way to kind of put it into words of how you would take that and give it your Chris Calhoun spin so you're not like outright stealing somebody's style? Like how do you get around that?
Uh, I'll I'll steal from a guy who's won an Oscar, and he's done really well, Sam Rockwell. With one of my teachers here, Lee Kilton Smith. She she was a coach for a lot of years on Friends. And she gets hired for movies to coach on set and collaborate with the directors to bring out the best performance. And she's Sam Rockwell's acting coach once in a while. And he came into class and spoke. And so we were talking about process, and what he does, he'll watch something and he'll steal it and take it. He calls it action shopping. And it's so
Okay.
relatable for me, like music, because Led Zeppelin borrowed from the blues and
Sure.
the Stones, and it all, everybody's got their influences. So he does this thing called action shopping. When he goes into a role, he'll go like, what would that be? And then he'd watch another actor, what they're doing in whatever performance they did, and he use bits and pieces of that. And then you want to amp up um parts of you and then tone down parts of you when you're doing stuff, when you're doing a role. How can I amp up a part of me that's going to serve this role? And then with the action shopping, like, oh, yeah, oh, like Sam Rockwell did this in this movie. He said, oh, I like that. Just to put that in
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
box, and it's here, and you know how to use it. If
Very
that makes any sense.
interesting, right? Like very um because there's no right way of doing it. There's no, I mean, there's a wrong way, but there's no right way of acting.
The toughest thing about acting is not acting. Like what we're doing right now, like this is the best performance ever, you know?
Right. It's real life.
Yeah. And then was okay, action.
Oh shit.
Hey, the body's over here.
Right, exactly. Got a different, yeah. What did you think of the? I think, was it Scorsese that was saying that he didn't believe that the like X-Men and Wonder Woman and Batman and all those movies? Was it Scorsese that was saying that he didn't believe that those were actually movies?
Yeah,
Or
he slammed them pretty good.
yeah,
Um,
what did you think of that? Like, do you get into all those shows?
if they wanted to book me for one of those
You'd be like, I'm in.
superhero universe things, like I'm not gonna say no.
Yeah.
Um, it's great money, it's great fun, but I
Like,
it is
what do you
what it
think his
is.
point was? Was it just the fact that there's just too much CGI, or like, or what is it? I didn't
He's
get the
really in,
comment.
I think he's really in, well, he's really into performance, like look at what he gets out of De Niro. I mean, and they've
Right.
collaborated for years. Um, and even newer actors, he took on DiCaprio and started working with him for some stuff. And um, I guess to him, it's not real acting. Like you still have to act, but I think it just got away from the true theatrical acting performance. I don't want to say performance because you don't want to perform. You want to try to be as true as you can
Mhm.
on stuff, when you're doing a role. Um, in a way, I kind of agree with him. Yeah, it's candy. It's candy floss. It's like,
Oh,
hey,
it's
let me get
definitely eye candy.
traction,
Yeah.
and they make bazillion amounts of dollars. Like they're doing something right.
Yeah. What is
Like there's a market.
DiCaprio's?
There's a market for it. Like people are going to those, and making them, $1 billion and
Yeah.
some of the
Oh yeah,
franchise.
everybody loves it, dude. I mean, I was such a comic book spaz as a kid. That's actually what I wanted to do. When I was a little kid, I wanted to have a comic book store. That was
Oh
my
yeah.
that's like the job. And then eventually got to like, holy fuck, I love music so much that maybe I'll just
Excuse me, that's a priceless Mary Worth.
totally, exactly, right. So, what did you want to do when you were a kid? I mean, obviously rock star, but like, was that literally your goal?
Just music, man.
Really?
I had it in my blood. My grandfather, his pictures on my wall in the office here. He passed away years ago, but he had a couple albums out. But he did a lot of traditional Scottish and Irish ballads, and his family life took over when he immigrated to Canada from Scotland. But he still performed on weekends, and he would be flown down to Florida or Pennsylvania or New Jersey and perform at these functions because he had the pipes, man.
Mm,
He was a tenor, so I think it's always been in the family blood. And my daughter, I know I'm going to sound biased, but she's got perfect pitch. She has a singing teacher she goes to once in a while,
mm,
and she's getting lazy.
yeah.
But got to push her at it. I don't want to be the stage parent, you know,
Right.
but I
Right.
can, I know the talent's there. And then from working in radio, you know, if
Yeah.
somebody, a band, then it could be raw, or a singer could be raw, but you just know there's something there.
Yeah. Whether it's the vocal, or it's just the way that they write songs, or whatever it is, you can tell.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how shitty the demo is, you can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, who's the most famous person you've met?
Ooh, uh, Ian McClellan
Really
once.
cool.
It was actually in Vancouver, back in the radio days. We were the sponsor for Dame Edna was in town.
Yeah.
Australian guy dresses in drag. Barry, I can't remember his last name, Barry somebody, but he played Dame Edna. This hilarious comedy, and they were friends. There was an after party, and this is when I just kind of really, you know, getting into acting, still radio, but still acting on the side and trying to get that going. And I like saw him at the after party. I'm like, oh,
Totally right.
because we always bring his name up in class and stuff. Oh my God. So I
Yeah.
walked over and said, "Hi, Mr. McClellan. I'm Chris Calhoun, local actor. I just want to say I'm very inspired by it." I said, "Thank you very much." And just turned away.
Ah, yes.
uh, um, Michael Moriarty, um, a guy, I love his work. He's gone off the rails. I think he still is in Vancouver. Um, if you watch old Law and Orders or Bang the Drum Slowly, and was it Pale Rider? He was in with Clint Eastwood. The guy's just, I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if alcohol took over,
Yeah.
or what. Um, one night we were at some event, and he came in and he was sitting at the bar drinking, and everybody's like, "Hey, there's the Law and Order guy. He lives here now." So I walked over and said, "Hey, Mr. Moriarty, you know, Chris Calhoun." I said, "Who are you?" And he's, you know, a little three sheets to the wind. Said, grabbed onto my hand, said, "You're gonna be my bodyguard tonight."
Nice.
And I just hung out with him. And then they say, "Hey, can my friends come over and say hi?" I said, "Who are they?" "They're my friend." "Yeah, okay."
Yeah. I'm your bodyguard for tonight.
And I watched his back for about 40 minutes, and then he just got up and left.
Wow. And some people just have that. Some people just have the natural gift of acting.
Yeah. Yeah. And as I say, it's the hardest thing about acting is not acting at all. It's just being true, like Stanislavski or any of the, you know, whoever, or Meisner or whatever. It's being true in the most untrue circumstances. Like the most unnatural thing you can do is walk in for a casting and okay, and go in front of a camera with a casting director and maybe a producer and a director, and like
Yeah.
how do you do that? Or bang, oh, they want to see you. The network wants to see you for a chemical read. A chemical read, shit, like with another actor to see if you guys fit. And like the pressure's on. And it's like a job interview. It's an unnatural job interview.
Yeah. Super pressure.
Like I'd rather go into Tim Hortons and go, "Yeah, I can make donuts," you know. No, I probably wouldn't get that job either. I don't know.
No, it sounded like you were acting, Chris. So can you try that line again?
Yeah.
What's been the career highlight for you thus far? Radio or acting?
Radio was my days in Vancouver. I loved it. And I did work hard. And you know, like if you want to do anything, like that's why I look like I was, and radio guys they look like they're schmoozers, but you go to every event, you kiss every baby, shake every hand, you know, cut every ribbon at every holistic spa grand opening place.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, you're on all the
Vancouver,
time.
yeah, Vancouver was like the cat's ass for me. I had so much fun, but you know, behind the scenes, you know, you're doing a lot of work if you want to be successful. You just don't show up, and it happens. Um, with music, it would have been, you know, down here with the band. I thought we were really going to do something, then it blew up. I remember one night, um, a bar over in Van Nuys, Sherman Oaks. we were in there, and Foo Fighters were going to play. They were just testing some stuff, and we were like, and we got the word, said, yeah, you guys are kind of opening for the Foo Fighters. There's like 2 or 3 bands, and we were on the bill, like one of the 2 or 3, and then these guys were going to come in and play just to do some. But eventually they didn't, because something happened. But that would have been so fucking cool.
Oh man, that would have been awesome, dude. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's over by his place he's got over there, and once in a while they get up there at this place and they just
Deadly.
go and play unannounced.
Nothing like a band that big playing a small venue.
Oh yeah, and if it's like, hey, I opened for the Foo Fighters, you know,
totally.
Like that would have been like, holy shit. But unfortunately, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Acting wise, the best thing would be working with my friend Dan Ireland, the director, because he had the confidence to see something in me and knew I was going somewhere. And as I say, unfortunately, he passed away. And that was my open door, because he had 2 or 3 films in the works, and the one in Mississippi that we're supposed to do. And then when he unfortunately passed away, it didn't go. Then it looked like it was going to go again, but then Bill Paxton passed away. So it was around that time. Working with him, undoubtedly right now, one of my highlights as an actor.
It sounds like he's, the confidence that he instilled in you. It sounds like you're still riding that wave, which is super important, man.
Yeah. Recently too, I just did a movie in Goldfield, Nevada, which is a town of maybe 800 people. And it's called Obscura. I'm not sure when it's coming out with. I did it with a guy by the name of Robert Lasardo, who always plays a tough guy. He was in The Mule with Clint Eastwood. He's a bald guy, all tatted up, and and he walks the walks, and he talk about being real. Like he walks the walk, talks the talk. Like, yeah, like And we got into it on set, but for acting. And after, like, he almost broke my nose with a gun.
Oh wow!
And like they had to call cut, and everybody run over, and then the next day he was like super nice to me because he knew he got a little out of control, but it's all in creating art.
Yeah, totally.
And like I wasn't, I was like, fuck man, like in my head I'm going, fuck man, you got to watch that shit.
Right.
But in the moment, you're doing stuff, and
you're also thinking, fuck, I hope they caught that take.
I hope
you're gonna take a gun in the face, right?
They gotta fucking use that one. They have to.
Oh man, what's in store for you for the rest of 2021? Like, how far do you have things mapped out?
Later today, I'm getting my vaccination.
Nice. That a kid.
My wife just went and got hers, so she just came home, so I'm gonna find out how she's doing.
Yeah.
Round 1 and then round 2 later in the month. I was up for a movie that they were supposed to shoot in Kelowna, and it was perfect because it was a guy who was this famous singer-songwriter. And like when I auditioned for it, they want a guy who plays guitar, and then they had a kind of a song, and then I built the song out from the lyrics that they had, from the lines they had, and I used that as part of my audition. And they were, apparently I was one of the 3 or 4 guys, but I haven't heard anything back. But I think the logistics of it's just not going to work, because they have to fly me up. I'd have to quarantine for 14 days. They got to pay for me for 14 days in Kelowna.
Right.
So I don't think it's going to work.
Depends on the budget, man. Because like doing stuff like that where you write a song based on the fucking lines is insane. First off, like that shows initiative and drive like through the wazoo. So I think that
and it was
who knows, man.
Movie of the week song, but like that fits in with the movie.
Yeah. No, but I mean, that's so unique though. Like, how many people did that? Probably Chris Kalhoon.
Thank you.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you're probably the only guy that blew them away in that regard.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll be having beers in Kelowna.
That's pretty. I would love that, man. I would love that. We're hop, skip, and a jump away. I'll probably be up in West Bank, mid-August, early August, mid-August, something like that. Be up there for a few weeks.
Yeah, I don't know what went on with that. And then I just, you just look for work, and like your agents, help. I just did a exercise tutorial because I needed an old guy,
Yeah. The old guy.
with
Yeah.
this company down here called Beachbody on Demand, and I've never really heard of the company. And then I did a little research on it, and this guy is like a multimillionaire, and we shot part of it up at his cabin in the Malibu mountains.
Wow.
He
Sounds
has a
rough.
helicopter pad,
Yeah.
and we were doing these shots like the hero shots walking up the mountain. We're all exercise, like following the instructor type thing,
Yeah.
and looking at the view. And then you look down, you see his ranch, his helicopter pad, and they were down there making a lake. They were digging out all
Right.
this stuff with backhoes and stuff to make this fake lake by
As you
his.
would when you have money, why not
Yeah,
make a
when you have
lake?
money, you can do what the
I
hell.
mean,
I'm going to make a
yeah.
lake. Yeah.
But it's all relative, right? I mean, I was saying to a good buddy the other night, we're just having beers out on the street, socially distanced, of course. And I was saying, it's funny because over the years, I've made a bunch of money, made a ton of money at CFOX. I made a shitload of money at, this and that. But I also had the other side of the coin where, starting off in radio, I was making literally 25 grand a year. But I never felt like I've ever had more than other times because I just always spent appropriate to the money that I was making. So instead of only being able to grab a case of beer in Smithers, my first radio job, now I grab a case of beer and a bottle of whiskey and maybe a bag of weed, and it's all relative to the money that I'm making. So,
I
if you,
like that analogy.
yeah, I mean, if you're a millionaire or a billionaire, it really doesn't. I mean, you're just, instead of buying a $12 steak, you're getting a filet mignon. It's that shit, right? Like I don't
Yeah.
own a helicopter, but if I had the money, I probably fucking would own a helicopter.
Yeah. I'm looking around at this place like, holy shit, this guy's, obviously has the cash. And then
Yeah.
another guy who works with him said they were just shooting the shit. And he's talking about, to count $1 million, it only takes like 11 days, like 1, 2, 3. Do you know how long it takes to count $1 billion? No. And
Holy
he's like, he's all
years.
geeked out, said it takes 34 years.
Fucking
What?
crazy, man.
1, 2, 3, 34. Are you serious?
Yeah,
So
dude.
I'm,
It's a
I'm
thousand
geeking out.
millions, man.
A million is like 11 days. A billion, he said 34 years. So I got to do research on that. I don't know if that's
No,
true, but
no.
it sounds about right.
I'm usually pretty good at math, but it seems about right. It's
So
crazy,
all
man.
these billionaires like do something good with your money. Come on.
Yeah, that's fuck. We could go down that hole for a while.
Yeah, yeah.
That shit's fucking disgusting, man. People that have like billions and billions of dollars, yet there's people living out on the street. Like, I would like to think that if I'm a billionaire, I'd be like, well, how can I help? Like, how can I help from my Google or my Uber Eats or whatever the company is that has all this dough? Like, I would like to think that I would be that philanthropical, is that a word? Philanthropic guy, like a
And
Bill
that's
Gates. I wouldn't necessarily get into vaccines and shit, but I would certainly throw my money around
well,
positively.
you've got a voice to advocate for it, like with your podcast. Like when the radio days, like the format that I worked at Zed, it was pop, like here's your music, have some fun. It wasn't
Right.
dark. And when I worked back in Ottawa, I was kind of like the Howard Sternish, Ryan Seacrest. I worked for a rock station, and I had, and I'd be very opinionated, and that's the format, that's what they wanted. But then that was me. I was trying to be real and say stuff. I'm not getting shit all the time.
Right.
And I have people, writing in, and I'm sure it's happened to you and other compadres. And when the radio thing got cut off, I kind of felt like my voice was cut off because I wanted to be an advocate. So I hope that I have, like, I'll use an example, Vincent D'Onofrio, and I know him through my friend Dan. I've met him a couple times. That's it. Just hi bye. But he's an advocate for that. He speaks his mind. And other actors do that. And I think at nauseum sometimes it gets like, just go act and do your shit and shut up. So, but these are people who have a voice and they have a platform and they can use it for good. And they do. A lot of them do. And hopefully I have that kind of comes back. And it was when the radio thing ended, I felt that ended.
Kind of, but not really. You know, we're living in that world now with social media. Like, regardless if you have 200 people following you, you got 8,000 people or 25 million, it's still the same thing. You can, you know, you are right where, you know, one person can directly affect something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
All right,
sometimes
Chris, I'm going to wrap it up here, dude. I'm going to respect your time and let you get that vaccine. Fucking exciting, dude. I'm totally jealous because I want the vaccine. Like, if they were doing it 24/7, they're like, Hancock, can you make 4:30 in the morning at the fucking Safeway parking lot at blah blah blah? The answer would be yeah.
Are they doing them at pharmacies?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
The way we got in here, a friend of mine, she went to one of the pharmacies and said, "Do you have any extras?" No, because she's not in the age group, and neither
Right.
am I right now.
Well,
But
that's why I don't know, because I'm fucking so far away from actually getting it. I just haven't even
she
made
went
an
back
attempt.
4 times and said, "Do you have any extras?" Because they can't keep them. I don't know how they have to do it, but they have to throw them out if they
Okay.
can't
Oh.
keep. So she went back the 4th day, said, "Yeah, we do."
Like,
Bang.
how
got her
would there
vaccination.
ever be a time that they would be throwing that shit out? Like, really? How, what? How
I
would
don't know what, because I think they have to allot it, and I don't know the storage or what they have to do. But yeah, she went back the 4th day. Said, "Oh yeah, we do. We got some extras."
wow.
Got her vaccination.
Wow. Okay. Okay. You're easy to find online. Just simply your name, Chris Kalhoon.
Oh.
I know, right? Now we got you. Awesome, Chris. Thanks for doing this, man. And I guess we'll see you online.
My pleasure, Todd. Thank you very much.